I wrote, it's almost along the lines of it's almost impossible, all right, to play 5 months of gritty, passionate, buttoned up, real inspired basketball and undo it all almost in 10 days, all right? And that's a couple of minutes after I shut off the TV, and the only reason I really lament that I did that is because it does not. Number one, it doesn't reflect how much I enjoyed this season, nor does it reflect what I think about the future of the Knicks, though they've got they've got to get a lot better.
Yeah.
They played so hard and overachieved so much this season. I was stunned and, incensed in real time, as all Knicks fans were, to just see them get punked by a team that, most of us knew was better. I've said it many times throughout the week. The Hawks are better. And a lot of the good that came from the season, Thibodeau had a bad series against the Hawks. Randall was phenomenal, was atrocious against the Hawks. The depth, which was a plus for the Knicks, was whittled down, and he didn't see guys play that much at all. So I guess last night I was struggling with a really fun season coming to an end. And I would have been better if they lost and Randall was still a star and he played great, and Barrett played well, but they just lost in 6 or 7. Like last night I was going back and forth, and help me out with this. I was going back and forth. All right, everything that helped galvanize me during the regular season betrayed me for the last 10 days. So where is the future of the Knicks?
Yeah, you were chewing on some iron pyrite, man, some fool's gold, right? At the end of the day.
It's you coming hard at me.
Well,
I'm a little vulnerable.
It just
Take
is.
it easy,
Look, here's what happens in the postseason because it is a series. It's not a couple of games where, they had back-to-back. They started this year, right? With the back-to-back series of the same team. So it was, you got a little
about where you played like a home-and-home series?
Yeah.
A couple times you did that.
A couple times they did that this year.
Travel purposes, yeah.
But so my point is, maybe they experienced a little bit of like intense game planning against them this regular season, and you can get through that, especially when Julius Randle's not being asked to be a ball handler at the top of the key. It's like, dude, come on, what are you doing, man? Yeah. But once you get into a series like the postseason presents, where it's 7 games, there's a break before the series, and all this team is doing, the Hawks, who have a really good coach. We've been talking about this ever since Nate McMillan took over for Lloyd Pierce. He is a really good, detail-oriented coach. It's why Trae Young has grown and evolved, because he's not just going rogue out there and being an ISO guy. So they were well coached, they were well prepared, and they got healthy. The Hawks did at the right time, and they were able to expose some of the weaknesses of this Knicks team. And so I think you take the regular season, BT, and it's a building block, right? It's not like a plateau. It's a building block that you now look at and say, all right, we need more depth on the bench, like consistent veteran depth on the bench. And again, I believe they should have put Derrick Rose back on the bench.
Hey, you did say that. I didn't disagree, by the way.
It didn't happen.
I didn't disagree
because they need a spark.
Well, I actually agreed with your concept. I just said it wouldn't happen.
No, of course not.
I knew that Thibs wasn't doing that.
And the reason he couldn't, because the options just weren't there.
No,
right?
They need a guard.
They need a serious, legit point guard who can command, who can create, who can make it easy. Because it's never going to be real easy, but make it easier for a guy like Julius Randle or RJ Barrett. Like, they need someone who can create. And so there's a little building block that I think is higher than most people thought it was going to be. Honestly, I thought the Knicks were going to be like 6, maybe 7 seed. Right? I knew they were playoff ready, especially as the season started going.
Well, but you didn't know that before the start.
No. I'm talking as the season started going, and they were like overachieving. Like, this team is playoff ready. Like, I see them as a 7 seed. Maybe they stay at the 8 seed. Who knows? I see them as like getting into the postseason. Yeah. But then they finish in top 4.
Yep.
Right? It's just like, wow, man.
And you can't help but start to think
you're right.
at that point.
But you can look back at it now, BT, and say they overachieved.
Yes.
Regular season wise.
Question.
And they're just not equipped like roster wise to compete in a series where you have a great coach and a really good young nucleus like the Atlanta Hawks do.
First thing I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get Damian Lillard. Probably won't. I'm trying to get C.J. McCollum from Portland. Maybe a combination of Mitchell Robinson, who, by the way, is very good. Didn't play, obviously. Mitchell Robinson. I don't know if they would want Kevin Knox. Obviously, a first-round pick. Whatever it would take. Not whatever it would take, but maybe come up with a deal that satisfies both. They've got to get more dynamic in the backcourt. And listen, your point is right. You watch almost every possession for the Knicks, and it's the exact opposite of Atlanta, where Trae Young does one little move and he's in the paint, floats it up, Capella with a dunk, or John Collins with a dunk, or whatever they have.
Reverse layup hanging, like, oh, it's behind my head. Like, what the heck was that?
Yeah, they got a lot of easy looks, and then you look down the other end of the court, it's like Randall banging into two guys, trying to work from the elbow down into the paint, Barrett trying to create, and that's not really his game. He's got no right hand yet. Yeah, the Knicks were a collection of real professionals, guys with pride, a bunch of cast-offs who rallied around each other. I think the greatest takeaway from the Knicks' point of view this year, and I have said this throughout the year, is that they have finally eradicated that nasty stench that has been associated with the Knicks for years, that poisonous feel that dissuaded so many stars from wanting to come to the Garden. Now that that's gone, that's been fumigated, and you've got the core, the essence of a professional team with real expectations, and at least in terms of making the playoffs now. It should embolden a star to want to join them, and so that's where the Knicks are. Where the Hawks are, the Hawks could beat Philly.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially if Joel Embiid is not healthy or limited or whatever it may be. I agree with you, BT.
Yeah, and that was why I said yes. While I thought the Knicks would win, the urgency for the Hawks to get this series over with fast, and game one will be Sunday. Think about this. If the Knicks would have won, they go back to Atlanta. I think they would have played tomorrow night, maybe Saturday, and then all of a sudden this thing stretches into next week, and Embiid has more time to heal. But now you flip it around. They're playing Sunday, and I'm telling you what, Gallo really did not shoot the ball well, but Gallinari's a seasoned, professional scorer. Bogdanovich needs no time or space to get a shot off. Trae Young is a superstar, or the closest you can be to being a superstar without being one, and I think he's trending there. Collins can play. Capella's a two-way threat.
Hunter's a great defender.
DeAndre Hunter, who I really like. The Hawks have a deep, deep roster. And this Sixers series, quite frankly, for America, the better series is Atlanta-Philly. For me, the better series would have been Knicks-Philly. But this is going to be a lot of fun from a second-round perspective. While the Bucks and the Nets are beating the crap out of each other, you might get an unexpected development in round two in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I agree 100%, because now the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be forced to score consistently, probably from range, because Atlanta's going to light it up.
Yes.
Trae Young is going to light it up. They don't want to go in the paint because Joel is down there. They lose size if they try to compete that way. So this series, there's so many question marks, especially with Ben Simmons struggling at the line, even though interestingly,
it was okay last night. 5
I know,
of 8.
but did you see you see the statistics, BT? When Joel Embiid is not in the lineup, I think there were 13 or so games this year where Joel Embiid was not in the lineup. Ben Simmons is shooting 71% from the line.
From the line,
it makes no sense.
Okay,
right? But other than that, he's like 52% or whatever it is from the line. It's weird. It's a weird dynamic.
I didn't know that split.
And maybe it's a psychological thing, like I have to be good. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just weird. It's a weird, interesting stat.
But this should be a really good series, and at 6'10" and the best defensive player in the NBA. I don't know if Simmons guards him every single possession, but Ben Simmons trying to shut down Trae Young is going to be incredible. It's going to be incredible. All right, let's get an update. Ack is on top of that. Tom Izzo coming up next. Talk about the great legacy of his good buddy, Coach K. So I wore the hat this segment so I can give my Knicks a little tip of the cap. I take back the tweet from last night. I loved what you guys have provided for my little guy who's now a devout Knicks fan. Great memories, a lot of fun. Thank you for an awesome season. Go, load up, get some more talent, and we'll take the next step. But Trae Young was a beast. He deserved that bow that he took at midcourt. And how about Spike Lee trying to sneak out with 3 minutes to go in the game? How the hell are you going to? How are you going to do that? How are you going to do that?
He wanted to beat the crowd.
Doesn't matter. I mean, come on. That was Reggie called him out. He came back.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't leave early. You Spike.
Maybe I had to go to the bathroom. Maybe I had to go to the bathroom. I don't know.
I guess maybe, but I mean, he's not 90. He couldn't hold it for 3 minutes.
Sometimes you gotta go. You gotta go.
That's true. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.